So for these charts here, we're going to begin with Bitcoin. We're going to look at some. Okay, Bitcoin is now at 795 dollars. Okay, $43,700 approximately. That's where Bitcoin is right now. It is just outside that triangular formation that we drew some time back. Yeah, these triangles, that formation there. So Bitcoin is just above there. Yesterday there was that. It's not really a break yet. It's not a confirmed break, but the RSI is above this point of resistance, and yeah, the chart itself, the price is also above that resistance, which is quite. It's good for those who own Bitcoin. The prices are moving upwards, so yeah. There is some small relief, not a lot of relief, but some small relief. Okay, now let's take a look at Brent crude oil. Yeah, there isn't a lot of fundamental events supporting this, what's happening there. So we've had the price being resisted at this $120 mark. That point where it jumped, previously it jumped up there, and it moved to the highest point. So we've had some kind of a resistance there previously. So for this chart, it's mainly affected by fundamental events. But today we're going to draw we're going to draw a trend line there. We have this low point and another low point, and yeah, so we have a trend line from the bottom to the top in this current bullish move, and there is a clear break of price there, and it has tested that level. So technically that is it's quite significant, and I'm going to add some funds there to first of all some bullish funds. That I'm going to first add Fibonacci funds, some bullish fund from where the chart started rising to this to this very top, to the first high in that price movement. And yeah, so this is the bullish fund. So prices should be moving within this range upwards for Brent crude oil. But if something is being done about the whole oil situation in the world, then this chart should become bearish. So technically, if we're going to buy, we're going to concentrate in between these lines, the 38.2, the 50.0, and the 61.8, and we're going to move upwards like that. But if we're to sell, we're going to use that same trend line, from the very bottom, touching this low point to the area where it was tested. So that becomes so this one here is going to provide us with support levels. So the 38.2 is the very first support level there. There must be the 23.6 somewhere inside there. If we look at the equal distance between the red line and the blue line and here, then we have our first point of the first point of resistance, of support there. So but for the funds, we have the 38.2 as the first one, so we're looking at that point of support for this chart. Yeah, there's been a lot of speeches this week, and a lot of so much has been happening in the world, but it seems like the fundamental events are really not driving this Brent crude oil. Something is happening that is not part of these political events that are taking place, though it is still very, very much deep inside these political events and the war and everything. But market impact from speeches and other decisions being made has really, it has really slowed down. We're not seeing a lot of impact from all those events, and now the chart is moving in a very, very, in a very free format, which doesn't have a lot of, which doesn't have much to do with the political situation. It's like now it has moved back into the patterns that drive the price of every commodity and every service in the world. So technically, we're looking at these areas. So if we are selling, we're looking at breaking the 38.2, then to the 50.0 to the 61.8, something like that. The RSI on this very chart, we have overbought positions there, yeah, which are definitely giving us they're giving us a feel of what's going to happen. We're going to mostly sell from an overbought position. So if we look at the retracement levels from the bottom to the top, yeah, the 23.6 hasn't yet been touched, but that is something to wait for. So this, yeah, so this one moving into the weekend, we shall see how prices move within these channels, either the bullish formation or this bearish formation, and we shall see what to take on. Where we have more strength is where we start buying or selling. But the price of crude oil is still, it's about $117 now. Yeah, it is still alarming. It's still too much. Okay, let's move on to gold. So yesterday we were looking at gold, and we had drawn this point of resistance, yeah, right there. So we had this kind of formation for, this formation was for divergence. Previously we went through all this, and prices were very, very safe below this point of support. And now it looks like, gold has now moved above its resistance, which has been there previously, and yeah, this is a good sign. So yesterday, the price, okay, this is today. Yeah, that is today. So yesterday, so today is 25th. So yesterday we're just below here. Yeah, prices were just there, and we're looking at the possibility of having a break upwards. And we've had that break, and prices seem to be very bullish there. So looking at that point being, okay, like this is now the trend we're looking at now. We can't really look at this as a reversal just yet. We have a trend line. If you draw that, we have all the bottoms touching there. Maybe that's where we get a break. Maybe we have an oversold position there, which happened yesterday evening. So we have an oversold position there, and maybe the possibility of a break right now, but at the same time we have a very strong support level there right now. The previous resistance has become support for XAU USD, which is quite it's quite important to keep that in mind. And not only that, the RSI is also hitting the 50 mark, which is some kind of not oversold, but it is close. It is close to a point where it gives us a boost to start buying. So we have a lot of information leading to a bullish market, especially for the time left before the markets close. So okay, so these funds, I'll be having another technique to use. I know these funds have been quite they've been quite nice. When you get a new toy, you use it over and over and over again. So these funds, I'm drawing them where this chart started rising to the first, okay, to the first top is this one, and okay, we can take it to the first top, and we see how we have been getting these areas of significance. So we have the 78.6, which is the farthest from the other three lines, and prices have been moving along those levels. So I'm going to add the next set of funds to the second top there. Yeah, so now we have many levels there, and yeah, so price has really, yeah, if you look at the movement, there are so many areas of caution that you could have taken after hitting the top there. Let me zoom this out a little bit. That's a 1 hour chart. So our point of resistance is there. So after breaking the resistance, all these levels were providing points of caution. So the resistance was broken at that candlestick, that very long candlestick, and another one came back, tested the bar and didn't really move back downwards. That could have been a failed break, but then we had a successful break. Price moved upwards, and now it's being held within these channels. Here, this is our trend line that we've been looking at. That looks like it's being broken there. Maybe before this candlestick closes, there will be a some long movement up there that will continue the whole bullish move. But we have prices. We could be in a bearish market right now, or we could be in some kind of a retracement. So the best thing to do with this chart, being that it's gold, I have to be very, very careful with it. So here, if we have a break below this point of support, that will be a good sign to sell. Another good sign will be if price really breaks below that low point, and also if price breaks above that high point. So there, you can have some serious, you can be very confident. If price breaks above, then you have some good upward movement. And if price breaks below that level, then you have some good downward movement. You can bet on that. But we have the RSI in this on this 50 mark. Then we have a point of resistance that was broken, and we might have this XAU USD chart moving upwards in some for some time to come. Okay, so that's for that is for gold. So Euro GBP is still in some kind of bullish sideways movement. The RSI has found its place above 50, which is a good rise, given that there isn't a lot of price movement. I think the last 50 mark is that one there, and that last 50 mark price was up there, and now we have our new 50 mark with price down there. So here, there's a lot of possibility of having some good downward movement sometime in the future. There's a lot of bullish energy here. There's a lot of movement heading upwards, but it's being contained within this kind of a range market. So when we start selling, it's going to be a good, we shall have a good point to sell. If this RSI, even if it hits a 70 mark, that will be very good. The 50 mark is still good enough. So with this kind of technical advantage, we just have to wait for some news, something affecting the euro and the GBP at the same time. Then we get some nice market movement there. Okay, let's go through many of these charts. GBP, USD, in the 1 hour chart, in some kind of a range market. There's a lot of selling power there today. And this one is a 1 hour chart, so there's a lot of selling power there today. I think if you look at the earlier events affecting the GBP, they led to this. So that is some good market movement. Maybe in the smaller charts, we can look for. Okay, now this one here, let's just keep it fundamental. There are a lot of events there. You can see many of them were very negative for the GBP. That's why there's that downward movement. Maybe events affecting the US dollar could push it further down, or pushing it upwards might cause some kind of a range market in the short term. But that's okay anyway. You can just analyze it and wait for those events to come out, and then you make your decision. This is the USD JPY. It has been very bullish for this whole week. For actually a very, very long time, it has just been moving upwards, and we found a containment zone, which is what we're looking at. All these levels are containing the price, and previously, last night, the price was actually resisted at that point. So you can see how important all these levels are. the mid levels and all these other levels that are the yellow ones. The yellow ones are the main funds, and this blue one is a mid level. Yeah, so we had a very strong resistance up there, and price moved downwards, and there was a lot of support at that trend line. So not the trend, but at this line here, which is let's get its previous top. Yeah, so these lines are somewhere on this top, this very, very previous top, some long time ago. That is in 2015. Yeah, 2015, there was this price movement up there, and now we're headed there. So these tops here were our points of resistance. Yeah. Let me just take this back a little bit. So these were our points of resistance, and price has somehow broken above. Yeah, these shoulders. Now we're going for the head. So this is the very top. Yeah, this is the summit of this previous upward movement, and looking at where we are right now, it is somewhere up there. Yeah, and we're going to get to it sometime very soon. So we are down here, and that is the very top of that previous upward movement that was there previously. So this one here is quite it's quite interesting, because it's been a long time before price in this chart has been up there, and we're looking at a very, very nice possibility of getting up there. And yeah, so we can almost guarantee that if this blue line it has been resisting price for quite some time, but if it's broken properly, we could start trading to that top. Maybe if it breaks, maybe somewhere in the future, we can count maybe from there. We shall have about 200 pips to that top. So here the important thing is to wait out that resistance line. Once price breaks it, then we shall be very, very happy. Euro USD, so is in a 5-minute chart, ranging market. 5-minute chart shouldn't really give you a lot of, shouldn't discourage you. But in the 1-hour chart, we have some kind of an upward movement. In the 4-hour chart, it is still a bit ranging. So if I zoom this out a little bit, I delete these previous markings that are there. We have some kind of, not really triangular, but this one is a bit deformed. So we have price moving like that, and yeah, not in a straight line, but we have something like that. And then we have these tops, moving like this. There isn't much happening with this. Maybe if I really take this one here through, okay, maybe touching the very bottoms like that. It's a sluggish trend line down there. Up here doesn't really serve a lot of purpose. We have higher tops here, other higher tops there. It's not really, that one there is not really significant, but what we have in this 4-hour chart is a sluggish trend line. A sluggish trend line there. So prices have been moving along that trend line, and price was broken there, and it looks like it's being tested there. So we have a previous support level there in a trend line turning into a resistance, a current resistance, which is yeah, and there isn't a lot of the volatility isn't a lot on this Euro USD, and yeah, so what to expect from there is maybe prices will rise to that. If prices break above that top, we can buy. If this one tests out very well, you can sell to this bottom and probably collect about 190 pips. Those are very nice pips. So that's a very big possibility, and given that kind of trend line, we still add these funds following that trend line into that shape, and we have our first areas of resistance there. So wait to break this 38.2, the 50.0, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so I think that's the last chart for today. Yeah, so markets are a bit sluggish, though you can still make some profits in the short term, charts. And if you don't really find anything worth trading, then you just let it go. It's not a must that you should trade every day. Even if you want to make some money every day, trading might be a risk. If you don't really have a good volatile market, you might stay in for long hours, and that swap will start building up and you'll get frustrated and you'll be forced to close your positions. But anyway, so this weekend there should be some news. A lot of news taking place in Ukraine, Russia, and last week we didn't really have much of a market impact coming out of the weekend. This week might not really have much market impact, but we had another speech by the president of Ukraine, and it's very likely that we're going to have some action taking place this weekend, which we can look into and see what the impact will be on Monday. Yeah, when the markets open, you don't have to trade immediately. You just have to observe what impact has come from the weekend's activities. Then we start planning from there. So many of these markets, some have broken some resistance, others have broken some support levels, but the volatility. Okay, there was a lot of volatility on this, the GBP charts, and for the Europe charts and the American charts, some volatility might come out maybe later on today. Just keep on watching. Fridays are normally very, very volatile days, and sometimes the markets move in the opposite direction based on the sentiment of so many traders. Many people might start buying, they end up in some accumulation phase, and then the markets move downwards and knock them out. That normally happens on Friday. Maybe sometimes things are just not very clear for so many people. But anyway, it's a good. It will be a good experience. But wait for these events to play out. Look at the impact. Do not trade before the events come out. There's normally that countdown. It's not even a countdown from 59 seconds to 0 seconds. Then you have the market impact there. Do not trade before the impact, before the countdown ends. Give it a few minutes when it has played out, whatever it's doing. Then, you follow the market. Friday is a very dangerous day. So, yeah, having said that, I think we've come to the end of the program this week. Have a good weekend if you're going to trade over the weekend. If you're going to trade these cryptocurrency charts, those are synthetic indices. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. There are some ways that these synthetic indices are actually analyzed because they are built on a certain asset, and there's an index of that asset and another kind of a volatile index of that asset. So the way you analyze them is not the way you get these double tops and what. Sometimes they work, but there are some ways of analysis that really help out. So all those charts are open throughout the week, not just on the weekend. We shall be looking at them, especially charts like VIX 75, boom and crash. That one is a very, very tricky chart for so many people. It looks easy, but yeah, when things happen, you know how you feel when you see that crash which goes down and then the boom that goes up. So if you're buying and then that you have a very long candlestick, it feels bad for so many people. And when you're selling and it moves against you, it's another bad experience. So there are patterns that are in those charts which can be studied over a long period of time, and you can test how effective they are and then present them. So I'll be looking into those charts, and when I'm very, very comfortable with them, then we shall look at how to analyze them throughout the week and on the weekend. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Have a good weekend. Goodbye.